Welcome to this part on the Cities Skylines Map Editor. But the purpose of this series is to create a custom map which will then be used for a Let's Play building quite a large city, and the idea is to build all the assets or features, main buildings on the map. So in the last part we kind of created the main rivers, used 3 different techniques to create the rivers. This one here, which is just there, you can see it's still got a few problems, but I'm not too worried about that. And we got this one here, and what I actually forgot is that there was a couple of minor rivers up here. I've already put one in just to speed up because we know the principle. And what we're going to do now is the technique we're going to use is the similar one I described before. We're just going to go in here, going to get a small water spout. I don't want a raging torrent, and I'm just going to drop it right down low. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of leakage out the back here, so I'm just going to have to just strike off a point here and take it across the back here. And what we're going to do is just let the water find its way down. So you can see it's just letting it flow, finding its own way. I mean, it might actually not need any work because this is the map, the actual a river as defined on the terrain map from the. If you watch the first part where I actually extracted the data from the terrain data from Vancouver, mountains above Vancouver, so it just actually looks very much like it's actually settled down quite well, which goes to show that if you're using terrain maps you probably just don't need to worry too much. Just drop the strength down a bit here now, make the brush a bit bigger, strike a height there, and just kind of maybe strike a height there and come out a bit there, just to give that river a little bit of an oomph, maybe just across here. Now in this part we've obviously laid the main rivers. Now obviously if you look at this, you can't play on this map. Not, I mean, there's no way you can build it. So what we're actually going to do this time is start the process of where we're actually going to turn this into a playable map. So what we're going to do is going to need the smooth tool. We're going to drop the strength right down low, because what we're going to do is start to smooth off the areas. We're going to get a big brush. We're going to start maybe a bit bigger brush, and what we're going to do is start outside the playable area. Maybe even bigger, I think, and we're just going to start. Actually, let's start down here so you guys can see the effect of what's actually going to happen. So we're just going to start stroking over. See, it's starting to change, and now you can see why. You look at the edges as I stroke over. Here, you see the it's affecting the rivers. So I don't particularly want to kind of fine-tune the rivers. Now this is what we're going to start off with, is just going over the non-playable area. So there's no point in, just make the brush a bit bigger, maybe make the maybe that's okay, we can always do it. And just basically what I'm just going to do is go over. I don't want it too smooth because this is the non-playable area and we don't want it kind of uniformly flat. So what I'm just going to do is just go over like this, brushing over. I mean, you can use a circular motion if you want. I mean, this is just an initial kind of what you could say. So you can just go over like this. So you remember the red area is the area of the biggest impact. As I say, I don't want to take it off too much, because I say I do want some features on this side, but just intrudes, because we will be working over this area as well. So we can just come in here. I think you're starting to get the idea, aren't you? So what I'm going to do now is just carry on doing this, and I'll kind of time lapse what I'm doing now, just to so you guys don't have to see me watch me doing this. I'll just leave, actually before I time lapse, just leave that. See, that's a little bit of feature. I know you won't see much of it when it's finished, but I think when you do these maps, you know it's there. And I will be building this map, so it's over that in the advantage. So right, now I'm going to do is start the time lapse. Right, welcome back. And what I'm going to do now is just, if you look at the mountains, I just want to stroke gently. You can see there's some major problems there. I mean, I don't want to kind of distort these mountains, so I'm just going to stroke over them very, very gently. Give a kind of smoothing effect. This probably might need a bit more work on it. Kind of create an effect on it. I mean, this is just you could say the broad brush strokes. We're just going here. You can see there's an issue there, but we're going to deal with that later on. You can see we've got a massive hole there. Don't know where that came from, but I think we'll just have to drop the brush strength down, increase the brush strength up a bit. Don't know where that came from, but we'll just maybe bump the brush size up a bit, strike here and just come over like that a bit. Probably makes it a little bit too artificial, so maybe we just need to kind of, yeah, that's a bit better. We'll just go back to here, drop the brush strength down again, and maybe we'll try this brush tool. But it pays to just experiment, so we'll just stroke over this bit here. As I say, this is just the first pass, just to get the feel for what's happening. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of work to do here now. As I say, I don't want it too smooth. We might even put a few features back in again if it looks kind of too artificially smooth, but I mean, does that look like it's going off into the horizon? Let's look in there, certainly a bit chunky in the middle. Now, what I'm going to do now is, before I start doing on the detail work, I'm going to do the same process as before, but what I'm going to do this time is not be a little bit more aggressive in some areas. So like here, this is going to be the initial thing, there, so maybe we'll just go back to the circular brush. We're just gonna maybe make the brush size a bit bigger. We're just gonna come in here and work over the area. If you do it kind of in a circular type area, you can get a bigger effect, because this is obviously going to be, especially this area here. So let's just start with this area, and we're just going to come out here. I mean, Southampton in reality is quite a hilly city, but it certainly hasn't got little bumps like that, I know that much. So we're just going to start, as I say, this process is going to be a little bit more detailed. We're obviously going to affect there, so we're going to have to work on the river banks there a bit, and I mean, maybe that feature there we might want to keep, so maybe we'll just bring this across here and flatten off the top like that. Maybe flatten here, and maybe we can have a kind of a curve up there like that. So So we got kind of some access, so maybe just do it again there. And we'll just leave that kind of front escarpment type view there. Just so there's a slight rise in the map there, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And I say we're probably going to have to keep working it down, and we can flatten this, maybe this bit off here a bit, so we can, and maybe just flatten across in front of this one. And obviously we're going to have a lot of work to do in this area, because at the end of the day these are the buildable areas. So yes, it'd be nice to have features, but at the same time you've got to be able to lay out roads and maps on it. So just get the brush size up a bit, maybe bump the brush strength up a little bit, and we're just gonna work over this area. And again, getting the idea of how much work's involved. And I say we're just stroke into that river. There's a little bit of a bump there, so we'll just kind of work across this area part of the map, and maybe just stroke in there. We've got a bit more built in here. This is a flatter area, so we'll just keep working over the area there. And again, I think what I'm going to do is time lapse it again now, guys. Just to, you've got the idea of what I'm doing, so we're just going to do a time lapse again. Welcome back again. I've kind of started to pause here because obviously this is a little bit of a special area, and I want to keep this top piece a little bit rough, purely and simply because this is the top edge of the mountain. Maybe we can just stroke in here a bit and bring this down a bit. Whoops, a bit too much. Control Z. Just give a little bit of a feeling through here, because this is obviously where some of the detail work's going to have to be done, just to give this river there. Plus there's a good chance I'm going to bring a road through here, so, and I've kind of left this little bit here a little bit kind of craggy, just to make it a little bit more interesting on this side of the map. We're just going to come in this side and do here. You can see if I come in here, if you do this, see where it depresses the bank a little bit, so we can use this to soften the edges of the banks a little bit. And I think this side I'm gonna kind of this side, I don't know if you watched in the thing in the time lapse, I kind of graduated this in, but I think this side maybe we can just keep smoothing this bit down here and create this a little bit more of a kind of a step in here, across here a bit. Let's just bump the brush up again. I was with here forever, and I'm just going to work over this area again. Just kind of there. So I don't want a dead flat map, but obviously we need to. Maybe we'll just take out this area here. I think I'll finish that off offline, I think, and this area here was because I think, and what we're going to need now is to kind of work on some of the detail here. Now you can see here we've got a kind of a cut through here, which I don't know, maybe we'll just blend this in a bit, maybe just kind of cut it back so that it doesn't look quite so harsh, and just maybe, yeah, I think that will blend in quite nicely there. As I say, we don't want it looking kind of absolutely roller coaster, yeah, especially these outside areas, because, you know, maybe if I get a bit more strength on this here, a bit more brush size, we'll just kind of flatten this area off here a bit, and maybe there, just so that it looks like a valley coming through there. And again here we've got another kind of river valley type effect, kind of escarpment, but I think again we're just going to soften it into the landscape rather than trying to just flatten it. So we've got this area here now. What we've actually got down here, I don't know if you noticed I was working on this as well, this is actually what's something called Portsdown Hill, at the end of the South Downs. So it's actually a feature that runs here. You've got Portsmouth and you've got these downlands here, that things. So I don't want to get rid of them, but at the same time I wanted them to kind of smooth in so they look like a kind of a foothill of this mountain there. So we got that kind of sculpted in. We've got this little groove here, but I think if we drop the brush strength down again and just stroke over this, so I don't want to, I want the mountains to look a little bit craggy. We've got a little bit of a valley coming in there. Yeah, it's got to look interesting. And we've got this area here. Now this area here is probably will be where my road will come in. So this area we're going to actually come in, drop the brush size down, bring the brush strength up, take a level there, and what's the height there? 130. So I think what we'll do is we'll kind of start here, cut through here, just maybe just broaden it out a bit and cut through here, because to be honest, to build a road you've got to have a reasonable level, you know, unless you really want something that's kind of going over, rocking over and backwards and forwards on a. Just bump the brush strength right up, strike it there, and we'll just come in here, just produce the base for this road here, coming in here. Again, it's going to be a bit hidden, so I don't think we need to worry too much about there. So this will just, so that's going to be the first road in, as I say, if you view it from here. Yeah, it will look a bit spiky artificial, won't it? So maybe we just need to well, I don't know how wide the road will be, but well, I mean that's obviously for when I lay the road in. I could try it now, but I don't think I need it. So we have probably one road coming in here, cutting, maybe coming down here. So let's say maybe it will come down here, cut across here, because remember we need to have a road, at least some road access to the thing. So we could have a road that comes across there, maybe up through there, and actually that could be a good way. So we have a road that comes across here, crosses the river there, comes across there, goes out that way, and then maybe does it come as a yeah, so we got a clover leaf intersection there. So what we could have is drop a clover leaf in, say about there. One will provide the access, so we have a road across there and an access up clover leaf up there, going up to there, and that would be the road connections. So we'd have a road connection, highway across here, so that would give us 3 external connections. That could be quite nice. So that might solve the road thing. Actually, no, I want to level it first. Don't get ahead of yourself, Stephen. Just going to drop the brush strength right down again. We're just going to work across here. I know it's probably coming across as a little bit boring, but I think there's a therapeutic thing. Obviously, we're going to have to. Actually, so where would the road come in? So if that's there, so the road would probably come across here, wouldn't it? So do we do a high pass, or so maybe we'll just drop the brush size right down to roughly road, well, maybe a little bit bigger, and we'll just say strike off about there. A bit bigger. Yeah, that's okay. So I think we'll probably strike off about there, come across here. That's horrible. Then again, yeah, I don't like that. I think maybe we're coming about this way. Oh, that's a bit better. That kind of makes it a little bit more natural looking. And actually, let's have I don't know if you can actually do this with this tool. So we've got 103 there, and let's kind of carve a pathway through here. Oops, the daisy. Well, we can always go the opposite way, can't we? So that's 147, so we can come back this way. Just actually that's could be useful, because this is going to be this is still part of the playing area. So what we can do is just stroke up here like this, just trying to get a bit of a slope. Yeah, let's just get back to what we were doing. Just smoothing over this area. That's it. I think now we've got a path, I think I can smooth in the rest here. We'll say maybe just kind of keep it a little bit rumpy bumpy. Maybe just drop this down here, across there, flatten it across there, and into there a bit. As I say, we can. So this is kind of facing away. Maybe we'll just brush across there. Actually, that could be quite nice here to drop the brush size down. bring the strength up a bit, maybe strike up there, and we'll just bring a road through here, I think, or the possibility of a road. So say that somebody wanted to, and we'll just kind of strike off there. That's 41, so maybe if we just strike off there and come, oops, that's horrible, horrible. So we'll just, I'll do it this way then. So we'll cut something like that. Hopefully we'll be able to do it. I mean, I can play test it just to make sure. And we'll just come up there and we'll just cut through there. So start there and cut through there. Up like that. Just to there. And up there. This is, I'm just putting this in, say, for somebody wants to build a port. So maybe we'll just shave this back a bit. Just getting worse. When it gets worse, stop doing it, as they say. So we'll just cut that there, like that, and strike there, and up to the right click there, and just come in this way. Then we'll just come over here with the brush and soften it all down again. I mean, there's probably going to be several hours of work, and of course we've now created this edge here, so I think we'll just smooth that down a bit. Hopefully that will just bring the brush size up, and we're just going to work over this area here, and just to keep it coming together and filling in. As I say, there's going to be probably several hours of detailed work which I probably won't record. I can't see the point of recording, because I think hopefully you're getting the idea of what I'm trying to do is getting a flat playable area for building. So I think we'll just kind of whiz across here, and we're gonna just fill in here. As I say, it's gonna be there. So what do you think? There, got some ideas here. Right, we can just start. So I think we'll drop the brush strength down a little bit, reduce the size down a little bit. Just kind of, I know we won't be able to see it, but I will know it's there. So we're just gonna, maybe we can just stroke this down a little bit. Bear in mind that if you do this, you're bringing up the riverbed. But we will go into, probably the next part will be working on the riverbanks and kind of getting them sorted out. So what we're going to do now is just come in here. Again, I'm not going to flatten them too much, maybe just get some there, maybe just across here, so it looks a bit like a river gorge. And remember, we're going to have trees on this as well, so it's going to probably look a little bit better here. Let's get some of these top spikes down, so maybe not make it not quite so linear, so we can take out some of them, and same through here. Just start chopping off back this. Like I say, I can always readjust it and improve it, so we can just cut there, just maybe reduce this bit here, cut through here, and a little bit of spike off the top of that one, and we're just gonna leave this pretty rough, I think. Maybe just smooth off that edge there a bit, because we don't want it to look too man-made. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's still a little bit lumpy bumpy, but I mean, a good way to test it is, I mean, there's obviously, you don't want, it's going to be fairly evenly green. And a quick, good way to test the levels is this, is if I go now, do an escape, save the map, we'll call it Waterside 5. You can see I've been storing different versions. I don't want to publish it to the thing, so we're just gonna, do you wish to overwrite the save? I already got a Waterside 5. I do. Oh well. Interesting. Or maybe we'll make it Waterside 6 then. And what we can do now is just come in here, see where it says slope too steep, so that's a kind of an indicator of what you're trying to build. And another way to do this is if you just take these roads and if you draw them across, so you can get the idea of how lumpy bumpy it is. If I build another one here, that one's a bit smoother. You can see it's now curved over. So obviously this area is still not particularly that good, and you can see it there. And you can see the giveaways here when the roads raises itself up. So what we're going to do now is just come back, load the map, find 6, reload it. I mean, it saves us the trouble of deleting the roads, and it just tells us that this initial area in here needs more work. So we're just going to find that, get the brush size up, and just keep working through here. I mean, this is basically demonstrating what I'm going to be doing for several hours. I mean, this is one of the reasons why it takes such a long time to produce these videos, because it's not, I'm not just recording straightforward gameplay. I've got to try some things out, experiment with them, and sometimes it doesn't go right, so I have to throw it away. And the other thing is that, like now, I will do this, it's going to take quite a long time to get this set up to a position where I can take it to the next stage, is where we can start looking at even more details and stuff like that, and maybe putting some trees in and the other area. And that's probably going to take quite a long time, and I'm not going to record it, I'll be honest. Yeah, if I'd recorded everything I'd done on these maps, I can assure you, you guys would be well and truly sound asleep, even with time lapse, because while it's therapeutic for me to do it, but watching somebody just flattening terrain like this isn't particularly interesting to watch, and I will accept that. So we've got this cut through for the road there, so we can work on that. We will remove these roads. Maybe I need to do that now while I'm thinking about it. So I'll just get the because the next time we're gonna really play this, we'll actually put the so we're just gonna go on Weeble. So we'll just clear this up. You can see where I've done the smoothing there. You can see that I've affected the river. So effectively what I'll do is I'll just finish deleting this, tidying this up, and I'll give you a demonstration of what I'm going to be doing along the edge of the rivers. Because again, it's going to be quite a slow, time-consuming process. So I'll just kind of give you a demonstration here where the river level's been dropped. You can see where I've stroked it in. So what we're going to do is just take a brush, drop drop the brush size down, bring the strength up a smidge. Just gonna strike a height about there. We're just gonna start there, and we're just going to kind of take through here. This is one way to do it. You can see there's a little bit of, so we're just kind of strike the water through here. Got a little bit of water splashing through here, so we're going to do the same here. Just going to take the map there and oops, maybe take it up a bit higher. Just stroke through. What's the height here? 103. Yeah, it's probably just the water. Maybe if I just speed the water up a bit, and you can see the same problem here. So we're just going to maybe just strike there and just cut through there. What I'm going to be doing is just going along the embankments like that. Now we've got some, what I will want to do eventually is we're going to have a bit of a beachfront down here, but I will do that in the next part as well, is create the beach part. What I'm going to do first is just, now flat areas like this, the easiest way to do it is just to take this, strike off a height here, it's 51 meters, and just, because I want this area fairly flat, and so we can just come through here, and I want it just above the water so it looks like a harbour area. I mean, I'm not going to do the whole distance of like this, but I think through here we can do that on this side. Maybe just up here as well, just to stroke through, take these initial bumps out here. So I'm not using a massively strong brush, because I don't want it to, because if I drop the brush like that and then go, you will see it will push through like that. Maybe I can just leave that there. We can have a bit of a flat area here, maybe just there. But you will see, especially if it's like, see where it's rising. Now if you drop, I'll just do that, and if I drop the brush strength down low and then do exactly the same, you'll see the rise isn't quite so aggressive, and the ground isn't totally flat because of the nature of the brush. And the other thing you can do here is like, as I say, I'm sloshing the river about a bit, so maybe this isn't a good one to do. Maybe we'll come over, there's my other river here. Now another thing you can do here is, like, I just use this example, you take that, you take the level tool, and then what you can do then is make it a bit bigger so that it straddles the river. And what you can do then is just, oops, way too strong. We need to drop it right down almost to nothing, and then just quick wipe over there. Just see where it's taking the edge off, giving it a little bit more there. Maybe we're going to need a bit more water in this river once it settles down, because I've obviously disturbed it with the path, but you can see we've got a little bit of a problem here, so we're just going to drop that down, bring this back up, and we're going to probably start there. That's 64, that's 57, so that's got a little bit of height. So if I do that and then I just stroke through here, and that's the water's gonna slosh about a bit because I've changed the volume. But again, you've just gotta let it settle down a bit before you start doing something else. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing, is just working my way along these kind of shorelines. Maybe this brush strength's way too strong again. Just bring this up a bit and just see where I'm just gonna stroke along here. Just take it down. I mean, we'll be putting some features back in, so don't but it's just getting that little bit of a softer edge, because if you do it down low enough, you can get it to the point where this yucky brown is non-existent, so you can have like grassy edges to your riverbank. Yeah, but I mean, you don't want everything uniformly green. I think having a kind of a bank like this on one side is quite nice. So just gonna strike through here. As I say, it's gonna be a little bit of a long process. So, but I hope you've got the idea now. And as I say, I think this is probably where I'm going to leave it, in the sense that we've got the basic principle working now. I've given you an idea of what I'm going to be doing. It's to get it to a playable point. Working through this area, obviously this area outside is going to can stay the way it is. We've got a little bit of an issue up here, which will need to be blended in depending on what I want to do with it. So we're just kind of, and as I say, I do want to keep it a little bit lumpy bumpy in some places, just to make the map interesting. Maybe we can just take this here and kind of stroke across here a bit, make it a little bit flatter on the top. Obviously I've cut into something here, so we probably need to just smooth this down a bit. Maybe just stroke across here a bit. Maybe a little bit more into this area. Kind of leave that bit there, stroke along here. Give somebody wants a challenge to build on the top of something, we can leave them this challenge, so we can maybe just stroke round here, maybe make it a little bit bigger. I mean, sometimes gauging the scale of things is quite tricky on this map, so this is where playtesting comes in. So what we'll do is we'll give people a chance to get up on this. So just strike a line there and just kind of come up through here. Probably need to make the brush stronger, a little bit bigger. So maybe we'll just kind of whiz in like that a bit. Maybe just come up here. Ooh, don't want to do that. That was nasty. That's where you've got to be a bit careful with the brush, in the fact that it cannot be. So we're just going to. So that's for somebody who wants to do something a bit different. Put something up there that's maybe just curve that in there. So that's the features. I think I'm just fiddling about now, guys, so I think this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's starting to make you feel that it's useful and you're getting the idea of where I'm coming from. As I say, off camera I will continue to work on this area here, really start to bring up the detail, get this into a flat working area so I can do some practice there. And in the next part we're going to carry on working on the rivers, maybe get some beaches in here. I think it'd be nice to have a beach resort, or maybe a bit closer, because that's a long way out actually. That's the first tile. Maybe we'll get some beaches in over here. We've got obviously I've been messing with the river, so we've got a bit of flooding coming down there, but that should smooth itself out. If it's not, we'll just have to bring the bank up. Oh, now you can see it's just starting to, the slosh has gone away. Probably where I've brought the bank down a bit. So yeah, so this is where I'm going to leave it. So hope you found this video interesting and you've picked up some useful points, and if at the very least if it's just encouraged you to have a go at making your own map and exploring the concepts here. We just have a nice long range run out for the end of the video. As I say, even if it's only encouraged you to have a look at it and consider maybe having a go yourself, I'll be more than satisfied. And know that, so like and subscribe, and until the next time, enjoy your gaming.